Welcome, everybody, to our show here on TV3 called the Spartan Sports Report. Sam and I are happy to welcome the gymnastics coach of CHS with us tonight, and Heidi Davison.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We had a regional here at Connersville, a gymnastics regional. Teams came from several parts of the state. Tell us about it.
Well, this was our first regional that we've ever hosted in Connersville.
Really?
Yeah, so that was a big change for us. We normally go to Columbus East every year. We have, I think, since 1990, and so that's always been down there. But of course, we had the Columbus East regional sectional qualifiers come up here, and then we had, our local kids, surrounding counties and whatnot, Shelbyville, from Newcastle on over to. Trying to think here, we had Richmond, just our normal teams that we do compete in against through the regular season. So
that was in the sectional, and you finished?
We finished second this year.
Still qualified you for the regional.
Absolutely. Okay. In the state for gymnastics, to qualify to go on to regional, you have to place in the top three team. So those top three teams continue on and go on to regionals, and that's the same way from regional to state as well. Okay. Yeah.
So it was a Spartan Bowl.
Yes. Yes.
That's great. How did the IHSA give us a regional? I mean.
I think a lot of them. I think Nancy Kirschman from Columbus East came to Joanne, and they had talked about it. I think last year. At the regional, because it always had a conflict of interest with their basketball. And so they know how Joanne has hosted prior meets with USA Gymnastics, so and they know that we've handled those quite a bit down at the bowl, as well as our sectional. So Joanne was all for that, and what a better way to get our kids on our own equipment.
Yeah, right, so, absolutely.
Yeah. And Joanne's all about safety, so it's all about getting us on the best equipment in the state, so. Yeah.
She's pretty good.
Yeah, she is. Yeah, she's pretty awesome.
Okay, how'd the girls of CHS do?
Oh, this year we had a pretty good team. We were really strong. I felt like that we had a great season. We had a 9-1 record this year, with the second place finish at the sectional and a fifth place finish at the regional, which we were actually like 5.55. In actually qualifying to go to state as a team. So it was a very tight all-around score.
Wow, that's missing third place.
Yes. And we were 0.05 of a point behind Richmond. So that tells you how close the standings were when it came to the totals for the qualification for the state.
So Columbus North and Columbus East will be, and
Seymour
will be going to the state. And where will that be?
The state finals now are at Muncie at Worthing Arena there.
Good deal.
So
Good deal.
and it has been for quite some time. I can't remember the exact date, but they've been there for quite some time.
Sam, this guy with us tonight should know something about the
Well, a little
finals.
bit. I think she's got some state championship medals of some kind.
I have a few.
3 to be exact.
Yes.
And so, and that's really something.
It is.
It's been, and Joanne's had that as coach back when you participated.
Yes.
So. A lot of tradition here.
Absolutely.
And she's kept it alive. She really has.
She has, and I'll tell you.
I know with your help as well.
Well, this is her 39th season this year, so for a coach of that stature to be still pushing the realm of gymnastics is phenomenal.
Do they have? Excuse me. Do they have a Hall of Fame for?
They should.
For coaches
they
for that?
should.
I
don't know if they do, but
like
they
that.
should.
I mean, 39 years of dedication.
Yeah, and this is my 20th season with her. So I've been with her for 20 years, but I've been with her since I was 6 years old competing. So I've been with Joanne for 47 years.
Yeah, you're telling your age.
Or 37 years. I take that back because I'm 47. So I've been with her for a long time.
Well, you're making me feel old.
I know.
But and that's very exciting. I mean, you go out to the high school there in the hallway outside of the Wise Auditorium, and got the pictures of all you girls when you won the state 3 years in a row, and that was saying something.
Yeah, that's very. very unheard of most of the time. And, I'm still so humble that that's there.
Right. Something they never take away from you.
No. Something that I'll always remember. Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. So, not as many schools do gymnastics now. I mean, they're afraid of it, or liability reasons, I've heard maybe, but...
Yeah, and that's the sad thing. I know from, 20 years ago to now, the schools are just not involved in it like they used to be. And I think a lot of it does have to do with liability. I think a lot of them, it's hard to find good coaches. It's because the safety aspect of gymnastics is very, very important. And when you don't have the money to buy good equipment, it makes it difficult for these girls to be safe. And, Joanne has always held that to a very high standard because she wants the kids to be in the best shape for the whole season. Because we go to so many schools that their equipment is just not, it's okay, but it's just not the best equipment in the state. And they've had it for years and years. And, and the kids, I think too, not just in gymnastics, but in all sports that I have seen, I think the participation of kids in athletics has decreased. Kids just aren't getting involved like they used to.
Too many.
Just too many other things
That's
going
right.
on. So it just seems to distract them a lot. But, with Joanne's program here, it really helps with our high school program.
Yeah, I know she starts them at a young age.
She does.
My granddaughter's been in it.
Exactly.
She's 6. And
Yes.
So,
and that's the time to start.
Has a good time doing it.
Yeah.
And, but, yeah, what a feeder program she has.
Yeah, you have to have a good feeder program in order to be successful. And, I think sometimes, too, that falls back on the kids, too. If they get it in them at a early age to want to be successful at it, they will be successful at it. But it takes a lot of time and dedication in that gym. And if you're not in there, 4, 5, 6 days a week, those state championships are hard to come by.
It takes a lot of support from mom and dad,
yes,
to
absolutely.
get them there.
And that pocket. That pocketbook is, it gets,
traveling around
traveling and,
like
expenses of eating and staying overnight and things like that. But the monthly expense, it gets a little steep sometimes, but what we do for our kids, I guess.
That's right.
But yeah.
How many girls on the team?
We had 13 girls this year.
And what about classes? Are you graduating a lot?
I've got 2 that are graduating. That's Whitney Owens and Layla Fitzgerald. They both are 4-year varsity gymnasts, a big part of our program. They competed in all the sectionals and regionals and that. So we're going to be losing them. Hopefully with the young freshmen that we had come in, hopefully they can get in the off season and really try to pick up and go in there and work on new skills and things that they need to clean up for next year. This is a learning experience for them incoming freshmen because gymnastics in high school is different than USA and the judging's so different. But the kids have a lot to learn. It's just part of the learning experience of high school gymnastics.
How is it different?
Well, you have different levels with USA Gymnastics, whereas high school, you're all on one level, unless you have a JV varsity, which we just have varsity. So, so USA, you go from level 1 all the way up to level 10. So you have different skills and different levels that you have to qualify for to go on to the next level. And there's, different advancement for each child. So,
what's the toughest event, Heidi?
Well,
I guess it depends on the girl.
It depends on the gymnast.
Her ability.
For me personally, I would think it would be beam, but then there's some that would say bars. So you've got 2 skills, 2 different pieces of apparatus that require different skills and different, muscle movement. So and strength. And bars requires a lot of strength, whereas beam, it kind of is a mental event because you're on a 4-inch wide beam and you're, how many feet off the ground?
3 or 4 feet off
exactly.
the ground.
Exactly. So if you want to get up there and take a whirl at it, then, I guess having fear of heights is not a good thing to have when you're on beam, but yeah. So I think it depends on the gymnast.
Sure. Do
Yeah.
these girls participate in other sports?
Yeah, some of them do. I think that we have quite a few of them that are, cheerleaders.
Yes.
They do Spartanettes, and we have some that are doing track. I've got a couple that do other extracurricular things outside of the school. So, yeah, they try to stay active if they can.
With
Yeah.
cheerleaders and Spartanettes, that season coincides with your
does.
season. So that's
We have to split our time.
a lot of work.
It's a lot of work, and it's hard on those girls.
Yes.
Even though they're doing kind of the same type of stuff, but it's just the hours are long for them.
Sure.
They put in a lot of time, so it wears them out.
Absolutely, and try to keep up the studies.
Exactly,
stuff.
and I think most of our girls, from what I've seen, Joanne and I, Joanne will show me the grades for the girls, and for the most part, our girls are exceptional in the classroom as
Yes,
well as in the
that's
gym.
great.
So that makes a big difference too.
Yeah.
So, and that comes down to just the kids knowing that they have to do good, and then in order to excel in life, they have
Sure.
to get those grades
Sure.
too. So, and I try to emphasize to them that, gymnastics isn't everything, but gymnastics is a great sport. It's, but your grades are far more important.
Sure.
So, but, the kids are really good kids when it comes to that part of it. So they do put their school before gymnastics.
Gymnastics coach Heidi Davison is joining us here on the Spartan Sports Report. We have to talk about basketball. Is that okay?
That's fine. Go ahead. I'm all about sports.
Well, we're talking about basketball, but Sam and I could be in a happier mood, I guess, because of,
Yeah.
of what recently happened at the sectional in Richmond. The Spartans played on Tuesday night, took care of a Greenfield Central team, and they moved into the Friday night ball game in Mount Vernon and weren't quite so successful. Here's some of the clips from those games. TV3 was there, and let's see what we've got here. This is the Spartans and the Cougars on Tuesday night, and in the first ball game of the sectional, the Spartans had a big lead in that ball game. At the end of 3 quarters, they were well out in front, but Greenfield Central, as we'll be seeing here shortly, caught fire and almost caught the Spartans, and Connersville unable to stop a guy who put in 6 3-point shots within minutes, it seemed like.
Yeah, he was on fire there in the fourth quarter.
Oh my goodness.
And their pressure was good.
Absolutely, but he
turnovers
he just got free and got some open shots, and really put a scare into the Spartan fans, I think. But Connersville won that ball game 50-41 and moved into the sectional semifinals on Friday night, and things didn't go too well in that ball game for CHS, as we'll see here shortly. As I just don't like to play teams in black uniforms, Sam. There's something about black uniforms.
Something about it, isn't it?
And we did. There's the black uniforms from the Marauders of Mount Vernon High School, located at Fortville, Indiana, and these kids came to play. They very similar style to Connersville, close man-to-man defense. Spartans played a pretty good first quarter. They came from behind, and at the end of the first period, they had a lead of 12-11. But after that, it was kind of all Marauder ball. They took things under control and kept the Spartans from getting a lead again.
I really thought when we hit that three-pointer to close the first quarter that things would turn around, because just that first quarter we were a little sluggish, but able to take the lead. Now, well, here we go. We're ready to go. But Mount Vernon, we defeated them the last 3 games in overtime, and that was in their mind. It had to be that.
Absolutely.
They were out to do the best they could, and they did. And I don't think we played all that poorly. It's just that Mount Vernon, I think, stepped their game up. And there was the freshman Jonah Graham knocking down a 3.
Well, and they went on to win the championship ball game by 3 points over New Palestine on Saturday night. I think for Mount Vernon, it had to be their best 2 games of the season, Sam.
I think so. They were second favorite to win behind us, but they looked like a championship team when we played them, for sure, and then came back the next night and and played a very good New Pal team as well.
Yeah, they made very few mistakes. They shot well. Spartan struggled on some of their shots. They just couldn't get them to drop, and usually those kind of shots throughout the season were good for the Spartans, but they just weren't that Friday night able to get in.
You know, there in the fourth quarter, they were able to close to within 2. Had a chance once to take a lead, had more than one chance to tie it.
Right. But, there's a bad play when Garrett Silcock hit the floor, I think.
Yeah, and there's play going in, but forced a lot of turnovers. I think 8 or 9 turnovers I had against Mount Vernon. Spartans came out and put on the press there late and tried to get back into it and really thought, well, we're going to go into overtime again, but just wasn't to be.
Well, they closed. Rebounding, I thought, made a big difference in the ball game. But you pointed out that not many shots were missed by North Vernon, so it wasn't Mount Vernon, so the Spartans couldn't get a rebound.
I had them through 3 quarters, I had them for 64% shooting, and fourth quarter it fell off, but they had done their damage early.
Yes.
And yeah, when you shoot 64%, there's not a lot of rebounds to be had. But nothing to be ashamed of, these kids. They are 4-time conference champions, and they were back-to-back sectional champions coming into this, and 3 20-game or more winning seasons. So just a great effort by the guys.
Absolutely.
And such a nice bunch of young men, as well as the coaching staff. You know, I just can't say enough about Coach Kerry Brown and the things that he does and the discipline that he has with the kids, both on and off the floor. That they're real gentlemen.
We're not talking about discipline that's punishment, but the control that they have when they play. Yes,
right.
That's a discipline that we're referring to.
Exactly.
But I was hoping we'd get a lead and go into our famous motion offense and play a weave between the circles, the center circle and the free throw circle. But we never got the lead and couldn't do that. When you're behind, you can't eat the clock like that. Yeah. Right. Speaking of those youngsters, as members of the team when they were sophomores, they went 21-6. When they were juniors, they went 27-2, and seniors 21-5. So
pretty good.
Yes, it is. 69 wins and 13 losses isn't too bad in 3 years.
No, it's not.
A lot of schools would take that.
And during this time, during Coach Brown's tenure, he moved to second place in all-time wins.
Really?
Yeah, he passed Basil Mawby.
Oh, my
and now trails Mose Pruitt, who was here in the 20s, 30s, and 40s, and it's going to take a long time to ever pass Mose Pruitt.
They put up statues, Mose would have had one, wouldn't he?
He would have had one. Of course, his likeness hangs there in the hallway just outside the bowl. He's a Hall of Fame coach.
Yeah.
Yes.
So,
legendary coach.
But congratulations to Coach Brown.
Oh, absolutely.
For his time here, and he's really built the program.
I think we're in good shape, even though we've lost this ball game. I think we saw a JV team, freshman teams, played well, and the talent is there, I think.
The middle school kids are playing well, so a lot of talent coming. Look for more 20-win seasons. And, and you mentioned the JV. They finished at 20-4 and defeated everyone in the conference. A lot of those kids we will see starting next year, I'm sure, but it's not a matter of rebuilding, it's just a matter of reloading, I think.
I wouldn't want the coach's job of when it comes to selecting players come October when they're preparing to start the new season. By the way, the girls will be playing early in November and the boys on November 21st, so we can look forward to that.
I've got to get it in my head how many days before I know it's 261 days before the boys play again.
That's your department. I mean, I don't handle that one.
I got to figure it out for the girls because their start date varies a little bit.
So, but in the meantime, we'll have spring sports, football and soccer and all those things. And speaking of spring, Oh, I know what I want to do. I want to congratulate a couple of area teams that did pretty well in sectionals. Union County went to a 20-win and 6-loss season by winning at Hagerstown, defeating Northeastern 56-32, and they take on Indianapolis-Scecina at 17-9 at 10 o'clock on Saturday. The second game has Cloverdale playing Shenandoah, and that regional will be at Greenfield Central High School. And Richmond Seton Catholic won the sectional at Mount Summit, downing the Blue River team 59-50, and they play Southern Wells in the noon game Saturday in the Frankfort Regional. So we've got a couple of teams that we can root for.
Right, and I would include in that our fellow conference team Greensburg, who won on their home floor and defeated Franklin County.
That really didn't surprise me, Greensburg.
No, they're pretty good.
Franklin County, though, played very well in that ball game, even though the final score doesn't show it. I watched a little bit of it, and the Wildcats played okay. They did a good job against Greensburg.
And also Newcastle in the area, not that I'm real happy about that, but Newcastle won, and they'll take on the Angola Hornets.
I think you're possibly looking at the 3A champ this year,
well,
Class 3A.
Yeah, we'll see.
You're not so sure, huh?
Well, I'm not so sure. We'll see what happens.
Okay, and we were talking about what's going to happen between now and when basketball starts way in November. How about some spring sports? Baseball opens on Tuesday, March the 27th at Westfield, playing Central Catholic from Lafayette. And they'll be home on March the 29th playing Delta. The 27-game regular season continues through May 21st with a sectional beginning on May 24th. The softball team's first game will be March the 31st. That's a Saturday against Oldenburg Academy. The Lady Spartans have 21 games scheduled. Their sectional will be starting on May 21st. Co-ed track begins April the 3rd, a home meet with Centerville. There will be 9 meets plus 2 invitationals. The sectional will be at Connersville, the girls on May 15th and the boys on May 17th. The boys golf team opens at Yorktown April 13th with 13 meets. The sectional will be at Richmond, and that's on June the 4th. And the girls tennis team begins April the 3rd, meeting Greensburg. 16 matches are scheduled, plus the EIAC tourney at Greensburg on May the 10th and 11th. And the tennis section will be at Connersville on May the 16th. So that's a spring sports schedule.
Yeah, busy time, yeah. And hopefully the weather is good and they can get all those games and meets and matches in.
Yeah, we don't want Brent Duncan to pull his hair out here on that during rescheduling due to weather problems.
Oh, that's going to be a tough job.
Today is a ISSA sanctioned official practice of starting date. So all those sports are beginning today, and many of them will be outside today, probably. So we want to wish all the boys and girls that will be playing Spartan sports this spring the best of luck. And we also want to wish all the kids during the winter time, the Spartanettes, the cheerleaders, the boys and girls swimming teams, the wrestlers, the gymnastics team, all the boys and girls basketball teams, and the pep band. We want to thank them for all the excitement they've given us all winter long.
Oh, they've entertained us well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. Kylie, do you get to many sports, or do you have a job that keeps you away from Spartan Bowl or something?
Oh, no. We try to support any of the extra curricular activities, from basketball to track to baseball. We try to go and support our kids and the community and just root them on.
We have a great fan base at the NB of a lot of schools.
Yeah,
when I talk
we
to
do.
people
We absolutely
from other
do.
communities, they can't believe it when I tell them that the crowds that we have at ball games and the following we have on the road.
Yeah, yeah.
It's amazing.
And that is always, I think that's always been a big, big thing for our Connersville crowd. And we have excellent fans and,
yes, we do
and support from
very
the
passionate
parents.
fans.
Yes, yes. I agree with that.
Well, some other things happening at the middle school this week. The wrestling team is home to Benjamin Rice. That'll be at 5:30 on Tuesday. And Wednesday, they will be closing their season at Hagerstown. On Thursday, the girls' red basketball team closes its season in a game at Franklin County. So wintertime is just about over here as far as sports is concerned.
Yes.
And I'm ready for spring.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I think everybody is.
Yes.
Should be an interesting time. So it's going to be fun to watch the spring sports, and I know Adam Kelly has got his boys already. Football, I mean, it's...
Oh, that's year-round as well.
Right, you can't officially practice yet, but I think he, like all schools do, the kids work out on their own.
Yeah. They have conditioning programs.
In the off-season, gymnastic takes a lot of strength. Do your girls work out? Do they do weights or any kind of strength conditioning of any kind?
Joanne has a really good strengthening program at the center. So when the kids come in, they do a lot of conditioning, a lot of strengthening, and it's at the top of the line as far as it goes, comparable to other clubs, in USA Gymnastics. So even the high school kids that aren't competing USA, if they come into the gym in the off season, and that's one of Joanne's big things she really likes for those kids to come in the off season. That helps with injuries when it comes to seasonal gymnastics for high school. So, and less that they have to worry about trying to gain, new skills during season. They can already have those prepared before season starts.
Seems like grip would be very important.
Oh, yeah.
To work on that strength.
Gripping with your toes and learn, with the beam, and there's just so much involving just actually from the top of your head down to your feet. I mean, your core, your legs, everything. It's just, yeah. But she does have a great conditioning program. Some of them might lift during school time, during their AP class or something like that, but Joanne doesn't have them do weights or anything. But they do, calisthenics and things like that in the gym. So with bands and jumping rope and but they do a lot of stuff. I mean, that's just minimal to what they do, but yeah.
So it can be year-round if
they want it to. And we recommend that they do, but a lot of them don't.
Right.
Well,
there's other activities.
Sure. Yeah. That's understandable, so.
Sam said his little granddaughter at 6 years old is in that. Is that about the starting age for a lot of them?
Usually that is a good age for them to start. They can't start competing until they're 7. That's just a USAG rule by law. It's always been that way. But a lot of kids will start when they're 5 or 6. Joanne does have a little 3- and 4-year-old preschool program with parent participation. So the parents come and they kind of help the kids, stay in line or help them do things because it's hard to keep these kids, focused on the coach, trying to teach them. So they're just teaching them dexterity, eye-hand coordination and things like that.
Do they have small versioned equipment for these kids?
Joanne sets up little stations, and they hop and they jump and they do little things to try to help them gain to the next level.
I know in basketball they have a smaller goal, I think, for the youngsters and things.
Yeah, now we do have like smaller equipment that's on the ground and things like that as far as the beam and things like that. So they do have little things like that for them. So
yeah, I think it'd be kind of hard for a little kid at 6 to get up.
Yeah, we don't put them right up there on the beam quite that
I was going to say, probably need
helps with coordination and confidence.
It does, absolutely. And not only does gymnastics just help them for gymnastics, it helps them to be good and well-rounded in other sports. So, I've always told them, all kids, even if they don't stick with gymnastics, but if they want to come and help with their strength and their conditioning, it will help them with that too. So, yeah. Yep.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, you and Joanne do a great job, and I know you're looking forward to number 21.
Yeah, I am. I'm just ready for the girls to come back and be strong. I think they will. I think we have a good team that'll come back next year and really step up to the plate.
When do you really start getting into the practice time?
We don't start practicing for high school till November.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but in the off season they can come in and train anytime.
But the ISSA rules when you can begin.
Yeah, officially begin high school practice with high school coaches begins in November.
Okay.
Yep.
Interesting enough.
Yep.
Heidi, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay.
Appreciate it.
And good luck to
Thank you.
all the gymnastics teams in the future at CHS.
Absolutely. Thanks.
Thanks, everybody, for watching this edition of the Spartan Sports Report here on TV3. Good night.